Hi, I'm Mark Gibbs with The Great Outdoors, and today we are in The Great Outdoors at the nursery. And if you haven't been with us before, I'm glad you're joining us, and hopefully, if you're back, it's good to see you again. We're going to talk about cactus, agave, and yucca today. This is part of our landscape here in Central Texas, and the cool thing about these guys is they love the heat, they love the sunshine, and planting them this time of year, your maintenance is very, very low. You're going to drown them when you plant them and then pretty much walk away and check them maybe in 7 to 10 days. But they're much easier to maintain than other plants in the landscape upon planting right now. The other great thing that I always bring up is even on plants in pots or plants in the ground, you want a thriller, a chiller, and a spiller. And with cactus, agave, and yucca, you can get all three. So saguaro is a great recommendation for what we would call a thriller in the landscape. You can see this guy down here has a bunch of pups. So you're getting quite an architectural plant that's going to be nice and tall with lots of arms on it. Or you can just get a large upright one that's just a single trunk and have your statement piece right off the bat. I do want to mention that if we have one of those situations in the winter where we're going to get a pretty heavy rain and then a super cold or a freeze right after that, if you have any lesions on these guys, you want to make sure those are covered. You can get damage where ice will get in there and freeze up and then rot those sections out. So that is a byproduct of having one of these. If you do get a lesion in it or some damage from a limb breaking or falling on it or animals tearing at it, you want to cover that up if we are going to have a freeze and ice situation come in. Next, we're going to hop over to the stunning barrel cactus. The golden barrel cactus, I mean, they just speak for themselves in the color right here. Beautiful form, beautiful shape. Give them some decent spacing so you can work between them and you won't be cramped and being stabbed to death. And then also the horse crippler series here, there are lots of flavors. Beautiful thorns on that guy, great symmetry again. And then we even have this clumped form where they've got a bunch that have come out together in one mass. You can see if you wanted to do a monochromatic planting, just even how beautiful that looks, just as all those same plants repeated in the landscape. Now, if you wanted to go to padded cactus or something like that, there are the little baby Ritas. It does have spines. But then there are the beaver tail, there's the purple puntia, they're darker padded cactus without the thorns, but a beautiful contrast if you're going to go against the golden. And then we have the bunny ear, which is a cute little miniature. It's got the little golden mounds on there. That is a stunning eared cactus. And this is a fun one too because you can put it in a container and it'll actually kind of fall over to the side and cascade. So you're kind of getting a 2-for-1 in that plant. Right here we just have some really unusual forms of the barrel cactus. They do have the horse crippler sort of thorns on them, but these forms are just stunning on the pads that are on here. And then the mammillaria, really awesome symmetry. Nice little white tufts in between the thorns there. And then this pharaoh cactus, beautiful, very unusual pad form on this guy. Some of these guys we may only see once or twice a year, so do keep your eyes peeled for these unusual ones. And if they're not around, you may check and see. Sometimes we know when they may be coming around again. It's typically seasonal. Then I'd like to move on to these Dickeys. The Dickeys are great. I like to use these actually to protect sensitive plants that are maybe going to be snarfed on by the deer. These make a great little border or an edge to a planting that you want to keep protected from deer. They're not going to mess with these guys. The silver is stunning. We do have a broadleaf silver here with some nice gator teeth on it. And then this purple or the burgundy here is a stunning form of the Dickeya. Incredibly drought tolerant. These guys go without water for so long it blows my mind. All of these guys, when you're putting them in, you're going to drown them when you put them in. You're going to use a cactus or succulent soil so you have evaporation and drainage. And you're going to want them in full sun, whether that's a container or in the ground. They need that sun, especially during the winter when we have those overcast days, because we've got to have that evaporation, we've got to have that dry out time. So this is one of the green sotol here. These blades, as they get a little bit older, they'll start to twist and corkscrew, beautiful form. And this is going to have a good 3 to 4 foot diameter as that opens up and lays down. And then we do have the silver spoon sotol here, desert spoon. Beautiful one, nice curly little tips to the branching there. That's totally natural for these to do that. It kind of adds such a neat little flavor to the plant and the landscape. And again, a good 4 foot on this guy. These don't actually get a trunk, but they make this big bulb, almost like you'd see on the sago palm of a trunk. they make a big bulb for the crown, and that bulb just gets a little bit taller over time as the crown gets fuller. Then you kind of run into the bear grass. Bear grass is stunning. Again, lots of nice little hairy trim coming off the blades here. And these clumps open up. You'll see these all over west of town, out to Llano, Bernie, Wimberley. Great, great plant, incredibly drought tolerant. Look for them at the top of bar ditches. They're usually right on that periphery edge where they'll get that runoff, but they won't be in the wet. And again, a substantial clump. I've seen clumps of these that are 10 by 10 when they've matured out. Really, really stunning, stunning plant series. And so now we're on to our Yucca. Yucca come in a bunch of flavors again. This is a really awesome one called Color Guard. You've got this gorgeous yellow stripe framed by the green edge. It's a soft leaf, so when you see a yucca nicknamed pendula, pendula just means that that leaf is going to lay down a little bit and bend over, so it's not going to be like the dagger where you're going to get that serious stick if you run into it. It's a little bit more forgiving. These do come in a twisted form, which the leaf will come out and begin to corkscrew, and it's almost a bluish gray. It's a very, very pretty series. And then just the standard soft leaf yucca. All wonderful ones because they can dual up and do some shade. The trick with shade, again, we've mentioned before, shade in the winter, if we get too much rain, we don't want it to be a soggy spot. So if you are going to try them in the shade, watch out, make sure you're draining well, the soil is going to release the moisture, and don't put it too much mulch on there because we want that, when there is sunlight, we want that air and sunlight to help that area dry out a little bit better for you. Gravel is a great option for spots like that because the gravel will keep that a little bit more porous. The other cool thing is in the shade, they actually will get these cool kind of charactery trunks where you may get little snaking going on and some bends and some twists and turns as they're trying to find that perfect spot of sunlight. They'll be looking for it. So when they're younger, you tend to get these little architectural shapes as they're trying to spread out and find those sun pockets. Do give them good spacing because they do pup. So you don't want to crowd out your plantings. I would plant these a minimum 3 to 4 feet apart. That way they've got plenty of room for sunlight, plenty of room for air, and no competition when it comes to their water needs. So next we're going to take a look at some of the agaves. These are some of my favorite plants for the landscape because of the symmetry. This is the West Texas tree yucca. It's our last little yucca, but check out the hair on this guy. This is a true dagger blade. It's not forgiving at all. This actually will get a trunk and it'll go up there. I've seen these 8 and 10 feet tall. Really, really a stunning, stunning piece. Beautiful bloom. But onto the agaves. This is agave frosty blue. You can see it's got a nice angular pad to it. It does have some serious teeth. But again, it's not going to be too mature in the landscape. So this is another fun one to use. You're talking about 3 to 5 feet wide, 3 to 5 feet tall, depending on location. So that's a beautiful one as a character. I typically would use that as an accent plant. And then we have the artichoke agave. Stunning symmetry on this. This is a 2 to 3 by 2 to 3 when it comes to feet tall and feet wide. And again, a great one for symmetry in the planting. Monochromatic planting with this is gorgeous. And then you run into some of the little shark skin agave. This just has a great texture to the leaf. It literally looks like shark skin. Nice, nice angular edges on these leaf blade. They kind of cup in a little bit. Gorgeous color. And again, on the perimeter here, you're going to get about 3 feet spacing on these guys when they get full. So you want at least 3 feet between those plants so they don't overlap and start damaging each other. The Leopold is a beautiful little guy here, much thinner blade, but cool little hairs that curl back on all the trunks and the stems. Such a neat one. It does pop out. The sisters to this that I love are the Leopold. Besides the Leopold are the Regina Victoria or the Durango. They have a little bit thicker of a leaf blade to them, and their leaves sort of point almost up, and literally they'll get about 18 inches high and almost look like a pine cone, but it's an agave. Huge, awesome character. And again, full sun, well-drained soil. They look stunning in containers as a planting, a mixed planting, or just singulars to bring out symmetry in a container. And again, very drought tolerant. They're going to take the heat, they're going to take the sunshine. So great time to cycle these guys through. The other fun thing, talking back on cactus, cactus flower, so do the yuccas. Agaves will flower, but typically that's part of a life cycle. It's not a seasonal thing. Whereas yucca and cactus, you'll get seasonal flower cycles. You can see this nice horse crippler here. It's got a beautiful yellow flower going on it right now. And the padded cactus have spring flowers late in the summer. Yuccas will have a spring spike late in the spring. So definitely think about those and the flower cycle, because that flower spike may dictate where you want to put it in the landscape. It may not be the plant, it may be the flower cycle. And please check us anytime on Facebook or our other social media sites if you've got questions on flavors you may not see right now, or if you want to find out when the best time of another flavor may be cycling through. We try to carry the widest selection, and our guys have a really good eye for looking for the unusual ones. So we may not get a lot, but it's probably going to be one you haven't seen before. Please come in and check us out. If you have any questions, come on by the nursery and ask for us. The Great Outdoors on 2730 South Congress.